Welcome to part 2 of the Garden Report. Now Jared Weiss is here. I'm joined by Jimmy Toscano.
We found him.
I'm alive. I'm well, just like the Celtics season after a rough start. This program, part 2 of the Garden Report, is brought to you by Blue Apron. Go to blueapron.com/Garden Report for 3 free meals and free shipping on your first order. And the Celtics almost had free shipping to the end of the season there at the beginning. They were down 16-0. They won the rest of the game by 29 points.
Yeah.
And a big
Completely
reason.
different team.
You guys covered Isaiah Thomas in the first video.
We did, in depth.
Let's talk about first what Al Horford did, especially in the second half of this game. He had 21 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Another game in the playoffs where he comes just short of a triple-double. Something tells me he doesn't really care about his stats.
There's no triple-double clause in that contract, apparently.
That's right. That's right. He's not going for that extra rebound. He was an incredible facilitator, and he really took it to the team when they needed it. You know, Markieff Morris being hurt in this game means that there was a physical disadvantage for Washington over the course of the game, and Horford really wanted to exploit that. Yeah,
they did exploit it. I think this was peak Al Horford tonight. You obviously, with that stat line, you know he's doing everything out there on the court. Sometimes it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but on a day like today, it actually did. So for all the Horford haters, hashtag Horford haters out there, they're pretty quiet today, I think. I mean, you saw Horford. The one thing I will say about Horford is he's not as aggressive on offense as you want him to be sometimes with the shot, but today he was hitting some nice jumpers, and I was very impressed by his performance, not only on the court, but off the court. I noted there was a stretch there in the third quarter where Marcus Smart picked up 2 really quick fouls, really frustrated, stormed off to the bench. You noted it, you tweeted about it as well, and Isaiah Thomas was kind of yelling at him from the court, like, come on, man, like, you know, shape up.
Not the first time it's happened in the
No,
playoffs
not the
so
first
far.
time, no. Basically, Smart was really frustrated, sat down on the bench at the end. Al Horford got up from his seat on the bench, and whoever was sitting next to Smart, he kicked him out, basically, and he sat down next to Smart, and they probably chatted for a bit. But that's that veteran presence that I think Horford really brings to this team, that playoff presence, too, because a lot of these players on the Celtics, they don't have a ton of experience in the playoffs, like Horford does more.
And Marcus came back in the game like a minute later.
He did.
Took a couple plays off, but he still had a rough night, and Jaylen Brown had to finish that one off. But let's get to Kelly Olynyk, who was the guy that really saved this team here. They put him to work on Bojan Bogdanovic in the post, and Bogdanovic shouldn't even have a prayer against him. And to Bojan's credit, one, he's a horrible defender. He was going to lose that matchup. But he was very effective in the fourth quarter. He had some big threes, hit that 4-point play that put Washington back in it, but the Celtics were able to kind of slam the door back on them. But Kelly Olynyk is going to be a matchup issue for Washington in this series if Markieff Morris goes down. But, yeah, it really is going to be an issue for them.
The good thing about Kelly, and we all know this, is that he can score from all over. He's a stretch big, and when he's on, like he was today, he forces those defenders out. So that's going to open things up for guys like whether it's Horford going into the paint or whether it's Thomas. If Olynyk is stretching the floor the way he can, if he's hitting those threes that he hit, that's just another added benefit to him being on the floor at that time. So huge minutes from him off the bench when the Celtics were really struggling to find offense. Him and Isaiah got hot at the same time from the three-point line, and that woke them up, I think. You know, when they started to see some of those baskets go in, Celtics shot damn near 50% from the three-point line today. So you really can't expect that going forward. But watching the ball go in the basket just does wonders for their confidence and breaks you out of that slump.
I mean, they had a franchise record, or tying a franchise playoff record, 19 threes tonight. I asked Brad Stevens after the game if he felt the water is finally sought its level, and he said, I sure as hell hope not.
Hope not.
So let's see if they hit a franchise or an NBA record, 27 threes in the next game. One way it's going to help them do that is Markieff Morris. He has a sprained ankle.
That was a bad-looking sprain.
He sprains his ankle a lot, and he said this is the worst one that he's suffered so far. He did, yeah. And, I mean, we saw it live, and I was like,
didn't he say he was going to play in game 2?
He did, but do you believe that? I don't.
That's the thing.
I don't believe
I wasn't
that.
there
I don't
for
think
it.
he's going to
I wasn't
play.
there to see how he said it or how the question was asked or anything, but I saw that he said he was going to try to give it a go. That might just be wishful thinking, and a lot of times, you know, it might take a longer period of time before that thing really swells up even more, and if it's swollen too much, I mean, he's not going to be able to give it a go. He can only do so much on one leg.
I mean, Rondo wanted to play in the next game, and he was done, right? So we'll see what happens. It is a sprain. It's not a break. He thought it was broken at first, and I saw his reactions, reading his lips. I mean, he was basically saying, I think it might be broken. So I think he was surprised that he was able to actually walk off the court at some point. But you could see the way that he was.
Sometimes, I was going to say, sometimes a bad sprain is worse than a broken ankle, to be completely honest. They say that.
I don't know if it's true, but
I'm not a doctor.
I'm going to take your medical advice.
I'm going to stick with that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, Markieff Morris being hurt is a big issue for the Wizards. It's great for the Celtics because Oubre was very good in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But the Celtics are going to be able to take advantage of that. Stevens is going to be able to pick that one apart. He went with Jaylen Brown down the stretch, and Jaylen played very well. This is a guy that hasn't really played at all except for some garbage time minutes in the playoffs. Do you think that Jaylen's going to show up more now that we know, obviously, Gerald Green? Well, actually, the injury could change it, but it's probably not going to be Gerald Green starting in Game 2.
Right, so I think we're going to see more. Well, you couldn't see less of him because he didn't play, the last 4 games. So I think Jaylen Brown, for him to come in just out of nowhere and hit that three-pointer, cold, essentially, and then played defense on Bogdanović and some other guys on there on the wing. He's once again proven that he can be ready when called upon. So I think you will see him, especially if Smart's continuing to struggle. I mean, obviously Smart gives you a ton out there, even when he's not scoring, but there might be a time where Smart's just not getting it going on maybe either end, and maybe frustrations continues to set in for him, where they say, hey, Jaylen, go in there. Gerald Green, it seems like that little honeymoon stretch there in the starting lineup might be coming to an end. I think he just played 8 minutes today, and I think it was a -12 or something around there.
He got a quick plug at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So he didn't really get a chance to redeem himself. I'm not sure he'll be starting Game 2.
We'll see what'll happen. Maybe he finally goes with Marcus Smart in the starting lineup. He did start the second half. Wouldn't say whether or not he's going to start in Game 2. Probably not going to be Amir Johnson because Amir could barely get on the floor in this one, too. So this will be a very interesting
Small ball.
Yeah, it's going to be small no matter what. We'll see what happens. We will see you after Game 2 here on Tuesday night at the TD Garden between the Wizards and the Celtics. Stay on this playlist for all of the locker room coverage. You get to hear from both sides of the coin on this one. That'll do it for Jimmy, for Nick Gelso, who's on the show before, for our producer, Jeremy Karpf. This is the Garden Report on CLNS and Celtics Blog.